Hi, this is Edward Montebello reporting for Esctoday.com. It's an honor to have Eurovision legend Johnny Logan, who is here in Malta to sing in a concert. Tonight.
That's correct.
You've been to Malta quite a couple of times, and it's not your first time.
No, it's definitely not my first, but I haven't been here for about 11 years. And this will be the first concert I've done with Joe, I think, Joe Brown, for his orchestra, for about, it must be 11 or 12 years. I think the last time I was here I was doing a television show to do with the selection, the pre-selection. Yes, that's right.
So,
for a good memory, Edward.
What do you think about this country? So it's your first time, it's a country that loves ballads.
Yeah, but it's a country that sort of is constantly presenting really good singers. It's of the Mediterranean countries, like the hot countries and something. It's certainly for a country the size of it, the standard of the performances have always been great. I remember when I won the Eurovision in '92 at the Martin behind me. Everybody was telling me the song that we had to watch was the Maltese song. That was
Mary Spiteri.
She was a great singer, and she turned out to be a wonderful singer. I'm glad I won. I'm sorry Malta didn't win. If I hadn't won, it would have been nice if Malta had won. But it's always like Ireland, the size of the country, we always presented really good artists.
We know that in today's you have a song competition in Ireland.
It's a song. No, it's a different kind of competition. I'm not competing.
What can you tell us about?
What I can tell you about the TV show is called A Hit, and I have a 21-year-old son who's a musician, and I feel as one of the older people in the music industry now that our generation have let down the new generation because we've allowed the record company, the record business to be decimated. There isn't a record business anymore. There doesn't seem to be any outlet for young writers particularly. This television show has a situation where 6 songs were chosen by, say, Steve Lillywhite, who's the producer of U2. Steve picked 6 songs. Of those 6 songs, myself and another artist who sold over 1 million records chooses 2 songs each, and then we whittle it down to 1 song. These artists, we hear them in the very raw state of just being played guitar and singing. The writer is doing them. Nobody's ever heard these songs before. Nobody's ever heard of these writers before. And we whittle down, we record one of those songs. That becomes the track that I perform. And then the radio station plays it, they put it out, and people buy it and don't want that. And if it becomes a hit, then it's a hit. And the thing is, it's not about me or the other artists. There's no jury involved. There'll be people as usual. I'm sorry I have to say this, but every country has them. We have an awful lot of people with opinions, and we have a saying in Ireland: opinions are like asses. Everybody goes with it. And the reality of it is, didn't do it for critique, or I didn't do it to advance my career. I did this because I think maybe I can help open the door for young writers to advance their careers and to be heard of. And I've done a song by a young writer over in Ireland, and I think we've done a great job on it. And we'll find out in 2 days' time when I perform it as to what happens to the song. I hope it goes on to be a huge hit, but particularly for the young man.
About Eurovision Song Contest, you won it 3 times, twice as a singer
and twice as a writer.
So, Eurovision Song Contest severely changed many times.
I think it changed because it had to change with the introduction of all the Eastern European countries that came into it. It was obviously it couldn't all be done in one day. I still think there's a lot of teething things. They still have a lot of problems, but I think they're trying really hard to make it work.
What would you change?
I would change, unfortunately these days, the whole music industry is judged by programs like X Factor and Pop Stars, and I think that's wrong. And I think what happens now is that the Eurovision is like a European X Factor or Pop Star, and I think that's wrong. I think the quickest way of getting away from that is to bring back an orchestra. You don't have to use the orchestra, you can use the backing tracks if you want, but singers who want to use it for the orchestra should be allowed to use it. The option should be available to certain singers. It would attract certain other singers, including myself, maybe even back to it. It might attract some decent songwriters. As I said, the whole music industry is decimated because we've set it off. We now call mediocrity a star. You know, this is the level that we've reached up here is what I describe as mediocrity. People describe it as a star. You know, this is not wonderful. This is mediocre. And what we have to do is reach. It was an old saying we used to have when I was growing up. If you reach for the stars and you miss the stars and you fall and you hit the moon, at least you tried and you got halfway there. You know, there has to be. We have to aim higher. We have to expect more and aim higher. And I think that. You know, it's very easy for me at this stage of my career, because I have an established career, to be able to say this. But somebody has to say it on behalf of the young writers. Somebody has to. There's a lot of fine writers, a lot of fine singers involved with X Factor and Popstars. Don't get me wrong, but I think that it shouldn't be the only outlet, the only way to find talent. You know, like there's a very healthy music scene with Malta and Sons and bands like the Black Keys, and there's a lot of really good bands. That are coming up, but they're indie bands. They're not, you know, being advanced by, you know, really pushed by record companies and invested in. That word seems to be gone now, the investment word. And I think also the press and the media have got what they wanted. They've always taken Eurovision as an easy target, you know, like to slag, to say bad things about. Well, now it's everything they wanted it to be. You know, it's the fish in a barrel. So I said, I hope you're happy with it. I hope they're happy with what they've done.
So we have a scoop here. If we get the orchestra, EBU, Johnny Logan.
Why is it all the things I've said, and that's the one thing you've picked, Edward? Okay. No, this is. But it's certainly. If there was orchestras involved, it would certainly seem to me more attractive. I always thought that the involvement of an orchestra added a certain elegance to the proceedings and to the show itself.
Is it safe for you? I mean, you have Eurovision glory, you are a Eurovision legend, and some singers who also manage to do well in the contest, even win the contest, sometimes they return to the contest, but now the contest is not just contested by 24 or 26 countries, but by over 40 countries, which is a bit difficult for them to even.
Yeah, but like the mediocrity involved in it. There's something that you can dismiss and half of the entries, because like sort of they're just all, you know, sort of they're bland from what I can see. Last year I thought for the first year I heard some really good songs, some good songs and good performances.
And the winner actually made it.
I thought it was really good. Danish song, which was great. And the year before, I think the Euphoria from Leanne was excellent. A great performance, you know, a great performance and a great song. So it proves that it can still be done. Maybe my time is over, but there should be other people coming up that can actually do things.
What can you tell us about the Irish participation? Maybe Ireland can return back to the Eurovision glory.
Ireland basically can do. If they start putting the cart behind the horse instead of in front of it, yes they can. Ireland followed X Factor and Popstars and all of these things and turned the pre-selection of our song to represent the country. They actually called it Eurostar. You know, think Popstar? Yeah, and they had a show where they selected a singer and they had community voting against community. So a singer from Cork and a singer from Galway in the final. And then every year the same thing, they realised they had a singer. They had a winner of the Eurostar, but no song. That's the wrong way around. It's a song contest. You find the song and then you get the singer to sing. But they did this because they were making money out of the phone-ins. They were doing financially well out of it. It was a very successful TV show. But it was shit. And if you can dress up shit whatever way you want to, it's still shit. And basically, the hands of the people that did that, they're the ones that are guilty for the situation that finds itself in now. There is a whole new generation, I think, in Ireland who are trying to rectify that problem, who are trying to put forward really good entries again. But I think if we're going to ever return to the situation where we have an opportunity to win the Eurovision Song Contest, we have to start taking it seriously. We have to, and that means in our pre-selection, we have to treat it properly. We can't have it. I mean, in Ireland last year, we had the Late Late Show. We had 5 songs in the Late Late Show, and in the middle of it, they had Danny DeVito on for an interview. I don't know. I've never seen Danny DeVito involved in the Eurovision Song Contest. But maybe it's just me. But I didn't think he sang in any of the Eurovision, so I don't realise what the point of the interview with Danny DeVito was at a time when we're choosing our national song contest. If it's something that's going to represent Ireland, it's something we should all be proud of. God knows we need it now. We have a great rugby team, soccer team, we have a great people. We should be pushing that again.
So last question, you are a real artist. I'm not saying this because I'm praising you, but you're a real artist. It's like, as I said, a Eurovision legend. What advice do you give to these upcoming artists, young artists that aim to do something?
Just, let's sort of try and find who you are. There's a saying by Oscar Wilde, very famous one, be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. You don't need to be Justin Timberlake. You don't need to be Mariah Carey. You don't need to be
Johnny Logan.
You don't need to be Johnny Logan. You have to be yourself. You have to bring something new to the table. At the moment, everybody is trying to be someone else. Nobody is trying to be themselves. And there's your that's unfortunately the reality of the music industry. That's the level we're at. Where's the Marvin Gaye's? Where's the Elton Johns? Where's the Bob Dylans? We have to look to the indie music market for that.
Thanks a lot. Good luck and a nice trip.
And it's lovely to be back in Malta again.
Thanks a lot.